Have you ever wondered how a traditionally meat-centered cuisine like Filipino can be transformed into a delightful vegetarian experience? Well, it has. Hello there, and welcome to another video with your friends here at Passport Journey. You can find this video in our YouTube playlist, Flavors of the Philippines, so make sure to subscribe so you can learn a lot about Filipino food cuisines. Well, it's time to challenge the stereotype that Filipino food is all about pork, chicken, and seafood. Yes, while it's true that many traditional Filipino dishes are meat-based, there's a growing trend that's shifting the culinary landscape. We're talking about vegetarian Filipino cooking, an innovative approach that takes the vibrant flavors of the Philippines and infuses them into plant-based dishes. This trend is not only gaining traction among health-conscious locals, but also capturing the interest of global food enthusiasts. It's a fascinating fusion of tradition and innovation, creating a unique culinary journey that's both familiar and exciting. It's about time we see Filipino cuisine in a new light, one that highlights its versatility and adaptability. So, let's dive into the exciting world of vegetarian Filipino cooking. To truly appreciate vegetarian Filipino cooking, we must first understand the rich and diverse history of Filipino cuisine. Filipino cuisine is a melting pot of flavors, shaped by a history of cultural exchange and adaptation. The islands of the Philippines sit at the crossroads of Asia, and the food reflects this unique geographical position. The original inhabitants, the Austronesians, laid the foundation with a diet rich in root crops, fruits, and leafy vegetables, cooked in earthen pots or roasted over open fires. As the centuries rolled on, the archipelago welcomed a parade of traders and settlers. The Malays brought exotic spices. The Chinese introduced techniques of stir-frying and the art of making noodles. Spanish colonization, lasting over 300 years, left an indelible mark with dishes like adobo, menudo, and lechon. Even the United States, during a half-century of rule, contributed canned goods and fast food culture to the culinary tapestry. Yet, despite these myriad influences, Filipino cuisine has retained its distinct character. At its heart is the concept of linamnam, a term that encapsulates the balance and depth of flavors in Filipino cooking. It's all about the interplay of sweet, sour, salty, and umami, often within a single dish. And let's not forget the traditional Filipino love for fresh local produce. From the vibrant pinakbet, a medley of sautéed vegetables, to the refreshing halo, a dessert made with crushed ice and various fruits, vegetables have always held a significant place in Filipino gastronomy. The historical use of fruits and vegetables in Filipino cuisine is not merely about dietary needs, but also a testament to the Filipino spirit of resourcefulness and resilience, making do with what the land generously provides. From the humble kamote, sweet potato, to the versatile malunggay, moringa, these ingredients have been creatively turned into hearty meals that have sustained generations. With this historical background, we can now explore how these traditional dishes can be transformed into vegetarian delights. So, how do we transform traditional Filipino dishes into vegetarian-friendly versions without losing the authentic Filipino taste? Well, it's all about balance. Filipino cuisine is known for its robust and complex flavors, a delightful dance of sweet, sour, salty, and sometimes spicy notes. The trick is to maintain these flavors while opting for plant-based alternatives. Take adobo, for instance, a dish that traditionally leans heavily on meat. It's the marinade that carries the soul of this dish, a blend of vinegar, soy sauce, garlic, and pepper. The meat can be replaced by tofu or mushrooms, absorbing the marinade just as effectively. The result? A vegetarian adobo that still packs that familiar Filipino punch. Let's talk about sinigang, a sour soup usually made with pork. The heart of sinigang is its tamarind-based broth. This tangy, savory soup can be just as satisfying with an array of vegetables like radish, okra, and eggplant replacing the pork. And instead of the traditional shrimp paste, a dash of miso paste can add that umami flavor. And then there's pancit, a noodle dish often loaded with various meats. But who's to say we can't load it up with an assortment of colorful vegetables instead? Carrots, bell peppers, cabbage, and snap peas are just a few possibilities. And for that meaty texture, grilled tofu or tempeh can be a great substitute. The key is to get creative with plant-based ingredients while keeping the essence of the dish intact. It's about understanding what each ingredient brings to the table and finding a plant-based counterpart that can deliver a similar contribution. And let's not forget, Filipino cuisine is not just about the ingredients. It's about the love, the history, and the traditions that go into every dish. And with a bit of creativity and a lot of passion, we can transform these beloved recipes into vegetarian-friendly versions that still taste undeniably authentically Filipino. Let's now look at some popular Filipino dishes and their vegetarian transformations. From adobo to sinigang, let's see how these beloved Filipino dishes can be enjoyed by our vegetarian friends. Our culinary journey today brings us to the heart of Filipino cuisine. We're about to explore some of the country's most popular dishes and see how we can transform them into vegetarian delights. First up, the national favorite, adobo. This dish is traditionally made with chicken or pork, simmered in a marinade of vinegar, soy sauce, garlic, and spices. The meat is then browned and served with the reduced sauce. But who's to say we can't enjoy a meatless version? To make a vegetarian adobo, we can replace the meat with tofu or mushrooms. These alternatives absorb flavors brilliantly, making them the perfect canvas to carry the rich, tangy adobo sauce. And instead of using traditional soy sauce, we can opt for tamari, which is a gluten-free and often vegan-friendly alternative to maintain that salty depth. Next on our list is pancit, a noodle dish that comes in various forms across the Philippines. The most common version uses meat, shrimp, and a medley of vegetables. So how do we turn this into a vegetarian dish? The answer is simple: up the vegetable content and replace the meat and shrimp with tofu or tempeh. You can even use seitan, a wheat protein that has a surprisingly meat-like texture. These will give you the protein you need without compromising on the flavors. Now let's move on to sinigang, a sour soup that's a comfort food for many Filipinos. It's typically made with pork and a variety of vegetables, all simmered in a tamarind-based broth. For a vegetarian version, we can simply omit the pork and add more veggies. The sourness of the soup comes from tamarind, and that's what gives sinigang its unique taste. So the essence of the dish remains intact even without the meat. You can also add tofu or tempeh for added protein, but the star here really is the tangy tamarind-infused broth. Lastly, let's dive into kare, a peanut-based stew often made with oxtail, tripe, and vegetables. The meat in this dish can be replaced with a variety of plant-based options like jackfruit or banana blossoms. These not only mimic the texture of meat but also absorb the flavors of the peanut sauce beautifully. In the vegetarian version, the creamy, savory peanut sauce is the hero. It's made with roasted peanuts and annatto seeds, which give the dish its characteristic orange color. Paired with a variety of vegetables and served with a side of bagoong alamang, a fermented shrimp paste, this dish is a vegetarian's dream. And for those who are strictly vegan, there are vegan alternatives to the shrimp paste available in the market. It's fascinating to see how these classic Filipino dishes can be reimagined for vegetarian diets. With a few creative substitutions, we can enjoy these traditional recipes while still adhering to a plant-based lifestyle. Remember, cooking is all about experimentation, so don't be afraid to try different vegetables or plant-based proteins in these dishes. You might discover a new favorite along the way. Now that we've seen some examples, why don't we prepare a vegetarian Filipino dish ourselves? In this segment, we'll walk through the preparation of a popular Filipino dish, but with a vegetarian twist. Today, we're going to bring to life a classic dish, adobo, but this time, it's going to be a vegetarian adobo. Let's start with the ingredients. Traditionally, adobo calls for chicken or pork, but we're going to substitute that with firm tofu. You'll also need soy sauce, vinegar, garlic, bay leaves, whole peppercorn, and brown sugar. And let's not forget about the secret ingredient, a dash of love. First, we'll prepare the tofu, cut it into cubes, and then fry until it's golden brown. This will give it a nice texture and make it more flavorful. Set the tofu aside for now. Now, let's move on to the sauce. The heart of any adobo dish lies in its tangy and savory sauce. Start by sautéing the garlic until it's fragrant. This is where the magic starts. The aroma of garlic will fill your kitchen and make your mouth water. Next, add the soy sauce, vinegar, bay leaves, and whole peppercorns into the pan. Stir it all together and let it simmer for a moment. This will allow the flavors to blend together beautifully. Once the sauce is ready, it's time to add the fried tofu. Let it simmer in the sauce for a few minutes. This will allow the tofu to absorb all the flavors of the sauce. Then stir in the brown sugar. This will balance out the tanginess of the vinegar and add a hint of sweetness to the dish. While the tofu absorbs the sauce, let's talk about the importance of patience in cooking. It's tempting to rush through the cooking process, but taking the time to let the flavors meld together will result in a dish that's worth the wait. Finally, after the tofu has simmered in the sauce for a good 10 to 15 minutes, our vegetarian adobo is ready. The end result is a dish that's bursting with flavor, tangy, sweet, and savory all at the same time. Now let's plate the dish. Scoop some steaming hot rice onto a plate, and then spoon the vegetarian adobo over it. The contrast between the white rice and the dark, glossy adobo is not just visually appealing, but also a promise of the flavor explosion that's about to hit your palate. And there you have it, the vegetarian adobo, a dish that's deeply rooted in Filipino culture, but with a vegetarian twist. It's proof that you don't need meat to enjoy the rich and diverse flavors of Filipino cuisine. But remember, cooking is an art. Feel free to experiment and make this recipe your own. Maybe add some chili for a spicy kick or throw in some extra vegetables for added nutrition. There's no right or wrong way to do it, as long as it brings joy to your table and satisfaction to your taste buds. So there you have it, a delicious vegetarian-friendly Filipino dish that doesn't compromise on taste. Try it out, enjoy the process, and most importantly, savor each bite. After all, that's what cooking and enjoying food is all about. So, what do we take away from our exploration of vegetarian Filipino cooking today? It's a question that beckons us to reflect on this culinary journey. We've traversed the rich tapestry of Filipino cuisine, a cuisine steeped in a history as diverse as the archipelago itself. We've seen how traditional dishes, once brimming with meat, can be transformed into vegetarian delights without losing their quintessential Filipino character. We've delved into the process of cooking a vegetarian Filipino dish, an exercise that not only challenges the status quo, but also opens up a world of culinary creativity. It's about taking those familiar flavors, the tangy, the savory, the sweet, and reshaping them in a way that caters to a different palate, a vegetarian palate. Vegetarian Filipino cooking is not just about removing meat from dishes, but also about celebrating the rich flavors and diversity of Filipino cuisine. For more travel tips and products to help you on your traveling journey, check out the links in the video description below. So until next time, my traveling friends, from all of us here at Passport Journey, we wish you happy trails and safe travels here in the Philippines.